If you've ever been in a mastering session and you're missing something, you know how frustrating it is. This was me last month. And fortunately, for this particular problem I had, a plugin came in clutch. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, why I chose to use it, and exactly how I used it. But before I do, there's a 5-day mastering sprint you have to sign up to. It's completely free and it just details the best juice on mastering. But leave you there, and now let's get into this. So I had this mix and we're going to listen to it and you're going to hear hopefully what I heard. Let's take a listen.
I'd do anything for that hit you say. Oh, I'd do anything. Well, this time it's just so dark and I cannot breathe.
It's got this really warm, organic, indie sort of sound, which I really enjoy. But I wanted to bring the top end up. And this isn't about the top end necessarily, but before I even could deal with the top end, I realized this song had no subs. Like, the sub frequency of the kick was just not there. Take a listen to this.
I'd do anything for that hit you say. Oh, I'd do anything.
There's low end, but there's nothing pushing through in the subs. And this was frustrating, so I thought I'd Hail Mary this. Now, the beautiful people at Safari Plugins sent me their plugin suite, and I felt so horrible because the whole team there are absolutely beautiful people. They're super hospitable, they're super passionate about their product, they're super passionate about providing for the community, great creative plugins, but to be honest, I haven't used any of them in my sessions. I've tested them a bit, but the perfect serendipity for something to just magically come together hasn't yet. However, it did on this. So, Bull Submachine. I ended up using this plugin to make the subs in that kick thicken out of the mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a before and after, and then I'm going to detail exactly why I chose to use this and how I used it. So let's go before and after.
I'd do anything for that hit you say. Oh, I'd do anything. Well, this time it's just so dark and I cannot breathe. Well, this time it's just so dark and I cannot see.
It just thickens out that lowest octave in such a beautiful, tasteful way. And how did I come to this? So let me just pull up my screen over here. I wanted to see, I've tested the plugin, but in terms of in plugin doctrine in a few mixing sessions, but it's never made the final cut for my ears. However, I wanted to try it here because it does something very unique, which isn't replicated in any other plugin I've used. Even ones where I can try to do something similar, it can't do the same thing. And that's here in the Hammerstein graph. The Bull Submachine, so these are the settings I used in the session, has a ridiculous amount of 3rd and 5th order harmonics in the sub frequencies only. It completely tapers off after 100 hertz. And I thought, that is really beautiful because I've got not a lot of fundamental energy there. I've got no real harmonics there. What if I use this plugin and not only do I get naturally, if we look at the linear analysis, a big boost in the subs, like a pool tech style big boost in the subs, but we also get this added benefit of these 3rd and 5th order harmonics down there to enrich that thickness. And that's why I chose this. So take a listen to the low end as I bring the blend up. Now, I settled on 30%, which is actually pretty aggressive. Like, you know, from top to bottom, that's still like 1.5 dB of variance on the linear signal. But just have a listen as I bring this blend up, what it does to the subs.
I'd do anything for that hit you say. Oh,
it gets really thick and woolly, which is probably not the right thing to do in mastering, so I would never push it that much, but 30% for this track felt right. Now, have I used this again? That's the big question. You're probably saying, well, was this a one-trick pony? Yes, I have used it again. I've used it on another 3 sessions in the last 4 weeks. No, 3 weeks. 17th of April. So last 3 weeks, I've used it in 3 sessions. And they were for exactly the same specific reason. A mix came in, it just lacked a certain amount of sub energy that needed to carry the track, and I've pulled this in. Mixing application, I've seen people use this amazingly. For myself, I haven't had a need for it because the productions coming in for mixing have already had really nice, well-rounded subs and kicks. But this has been a real clutch. Some little tips when you're using it. If we'll go over to this screen here, the punch basically doubles its effect. So I tend to avoid it in mastering. The blend, 30%, this is the most aggressive I've ever used it, was the first time I used it. I've learnt somewhere between 10 to 20% of the blend is more than enough to enrich the subs and bring an extra bit of harmonics to the low end that thickens things up. And yeah, what else? The resonance I don't really touch. The oversampling, there's no real need for me to oversample this plugin because it's not making harmonics above Nyquist that are audible. I don't tend to touch the drive because there's no need to drive it. It's already just with the drive off, it's adding so much harmonic content. So yeah, blend typically 10 to 20. The frequency, the corner frequency is really interesting. If we look over here, I'll just bring this to 100 so we can see. The corner frequency is at 77 hertz, and that's basically the point at which it crosses over the center. It's a shelf tilt EQ. So if I get something like, where are we? Let's get Pro Q4. Okay. Let's do that. Come on, Pro Q4. Join the party, mate. It's basically a shelf tilt EQ. So if I get 77, I go shelf tilt. Where are we? Shelf tilt. 4.5. Oopsies, wrong way. Okay, let's just look at this. Not enough room on the screen. So I go 4.5, and we're going to go... What would we do here? The resonance is 8%, so that's just basically how sharp that is. 2.5, negative 2.5. Then we gain down. You're starting to get a very similar sort of looking 2.2, just 2. A very sort of similar looking filter there. So it's basically a tilt shelf EQ. Okay, so that frequency is the tilt, the center of that tilt in the low end. And then I'm not sure how they're processing the harmonics because it just harmonically to get this sort of curve on the Hammerstein graph is really cool. Obviously, I've blended a little bit too much there. Let's just tone that down. Is awesome because I tried this in Isotope Exciter and the crossovers of the multiband were too sharp to get this sort of natural roll down. So I'm pretty happy with this. In terms of linear analysis, phase-wise, it tracks very closely to Pro Q. Like, it's really good. It's just a really good plugin. Hats off to the team at Safari Plugins for hooking me up on this because, yeah, it came through clutch, guys. It came through clutch, and I'm really proud and happy to share this with the community because this is a real case study and it's the real juice. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, take care.